Rand was asking, I'm overwhelmed and just procrastinate where to begin and how to begin. I'm assuming all of the different training can definitely be a little overwhelming, and you may not be quite sure where to start in the training or where to begin as far as building your website goes. So I think that's a very valid question and definitely something that some other people are likely wondering as well. So I thought I would start there and point some stuff out and hopefully give you a little bit of direction to work on. Oh, you're quite welcome, Rand. Now to begin with, on the training courses page in Team Azon Pro, you have all of these different main training classes, and within each of them they get broken down into individual classes that you can kind of progress through for that particular series. Now it's hard to know offhand exactly what you may have gone through and may not have gone through already. As far as with the training itself and also with building an actual website, I would really recommend for most people to begin on Azon Masterclass 1. It's what I would consider a low maintenance type of website that also requires the least amount of work and investment of time and maybe even potentially money out of all the other ones. Your 3 Azon Masterclass courses are each about building a specific type of website. So as you kind of progress, you may move on to the other courses, and there could certainly be tactics in some of the other courses that could be useful on any of the types of websites that you build. But I would really recommend to focus on Azon Masterclass 1. Try to work your way through each of the training classes one by one, starting at the top and going down. Each one will kind of address a specific part of the site building process. So for example, you would start off by trying to find a product or a combination of a couple of products that is centered around a single niche. Then you would want to continue on to Google, do some keyword research relating to that niche, relating to the products that you have researched, to try to figure out some potential keywords that you might be able to target on individual pages of your website, and then also try to figure out kind of a primary keyword phrase and a primary topic that your entire website will be centered around, and everything else that is done on that site should relate to that one particular topic. And that's kind of what you design the homepage of your website about. So then you progress on into site research and planning, where you're taking that keyword information and you're figuring out what different pages you're going to build on your site. And I do that based on mostly keywords, to where a decent number of the pages on my site will be based upon one particular keyword that I've researched off of Google that I want to try to target on that page to try to get search rankings for it. So I kind of use this keyword structure to get a rough plan of what kind of pages I might build on my site, and from there I can kind of organize those different pages into some kind of a structure that makes sense, simply giving a couple different categories, or it really just kind of depends on what your website's about and what your different pages are going to be about. Sometimes you might have a brand page as a category page where you're building a lot of different individual product pages underneath that brand page. Other times it can be more informational based. kind of like I've done with a decent majority of the pages on downcomforterguide.com. So once you kind of get a idea of the different pages that you want to build on your site, you get a rough structure drawn out. I recommend going for about 20 pages or so. If you end up with a little more or a little less, it's okay. But I think shooting for around the 20-page mark is a good number, especially for a first website, because it's not too horribly much work in terms of, you know, you're not spanning months and months worth of work out. It should be something that you can get completed within about a month if you really sit down and try to work through the training and apply each of the training lessons as you're going through it. So when you get to the end, you're not swarming with wondering what I should do now. So as you go through it, by the end, you should have a completed website that's up and running. So once you plan your entire site, then I recommend to proceed on to actually building your website. I don't think there's too much point in getting a website started until you truly get it planned, because sometimes your plans can change from this first step down to this third step. You might realize that your niche is too broad or it's too specific. Maybe you couldn't come up with enough types of content or different products that you could promote within a ultra-defined niche that you may have come up with to begin with. Whatever the case may be, I find it best to wait till you really get a domain name picked out and get your whole website set up. So steps 4 and 5 here are about getting all that set up, getting your software going, and learning how to use WordPress itself. But the remaining training lessons that are kind of WordPress based, they're still going to essentially teach you what you need to know as you're going through it. It's just that the WordPress usage tutorial is gonna kind of give you more of an overview, just so you have a bit of an understanding of what's being discussed in these later training lessons. So your site construction, there's really 3 different phases to this, spread out through these 3 different lessons. And this will walk you through the actual building of your website. So if you already know what your website's going to be, maybe you already have WordPress set up, you might want to just go ahead and jump to class number 6 and begin here and work your way down. It really just kind of depends on where you might be within that process. I don't believe I saw anything in your question having to do with where you might be currently. Now your site construction, part of this is going to be setting up kind of the structure pages of your website, the pages that will essentially link out to all the other pages of your site. And then you'll progress through with building kind of the meat of your website, all the different informational content pages. And I really save advertising for last because I think the focus should really be on creating a good website. Before you get to the advertising, you should be able to stop, and your website should still make sense at that particular point. It should be useful. So then the advertising doesn't become the primary focus of the entire website. But once you get to step 8 here, you should be completely done with actually building your website itself, and everything beyond that is going to be about marketing, the next 3 lessons here. And then the final lesson is really just going to be for people that may not necessarily be looking to hold on to their website for a prolonged period of time. One of the other questions that I saw that you had was referring to the overall concept of my training being to build a long-term business. But if you're dealing with a need for urgent cash flow, how do you take my training and use that to get yourself some urgent cash flow? This site flipping lesson is one potential way that you can accomplish that. If you get a completed website, even if the website has not made a single penny yet, you can still sell those websites. There's still somebody that will buy it from you, knowing that it's a brand new website, knowing the potential that it has, especially if you can show that it's got any kind of traffic coming to it whatsoever. People can see the potential in it, and they will pay something for it. It's really hard to say what, because they will base it off of the actual website itself and any traffic and or sales that it may have. So obviously traffic and sales will increase the amount that you can get paid from selling a website, but you can certainly sell them without that stuff by simply being a completed website that somebody can see the potential in, especially if you can then say, this is a completely unique website. All the content is unique. It's not something that's auto-generated. If you go to a Flippa, for example, they have websites there that are those auto-generated websites. And believe it or not, they sell on Flippa. People essentially just click a couple of buttons and generate a website on a new domain name, and they'll put it up on Flippa. Now, they don't necessarily sell a lot of them, but they seem to fetch, I think the last time I looked was maybe $120 or something like that, of, show an example, of the websites that I'm talking about, kind of the auto-generated ones. I wonder if I could find one of those. Oops, I'm typing in Glippa. And this site has changed a while since I've been here last. I don't think I'm going to find it this way. I remember a big listing and not these picture ones, so I'm not sure if I would be able to find it offhand. Type in Amazon affiliate and see if anything comes up. Sometimes people will label them this way. This might be one. This is based on WordPress. It's not unique in any way in terms of the template, the content, and the design. The minimum offer being $100, and I think the buy it now I saw was $2 or somewhere in that neighborhood. And a freshly registered domain name probably has no traffic or anything going for it, really. So if you can show that you have a unique site, you're going to have something more going for you than these basic sites. And while they don't sell a lot, they do sell on here. So, that's not that $100 for a 20-page website is necessarily that great. But, when you're dealing with something that you've actually put the time into to create, the real marketers will see the difference between that and something like this, for example. But this is probably something that they just simply generate and just throw up on Flippa, and they probably have hundreds of them up on there. So that way all they really need is for one to sell every day. And, they can make $100 a day off of something like that if they have enough of them out there. But the better websites will definitely get more respect than something like this, but I've certainly seen even these types of websites sell. So as a comparison, a profitable Amazon affiliate website. I've personally sold one on Flippa before for $2,000. I've sold one on the Warrior Forum, was another one that I review in my site flipping lesson in Azon Masterclass 1. That one was sold for $3,000. I got a little more off of it, but I also had kind of my name going for me in terms of, I explained it in the class pretty good. I kind of built up a little bit of hype centered around the site, and got it a lot of attention from other marketers, and I believe that contributed to it selling for maybe potentially even more than it technically should have sold for. Sniper sites. I've definitely heard the term. I don't get wrapped up in too many of the different lingos and stuff, and unless it's a product I personally review, I don't really follow all that. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking, like a one-page website. Just something that just promotes a single product, I would assume. I have seen that type of stuff before. There's nothing wrong with doing a sniper site. Right. Gaz Cooper is one person that I have seen use sniper sites and has done so very effectively. The difference between a sniper site and my site is that a sniper site is dependent upon you finding the traffic for it. So that's where the other part of what you're saying on YouTube marketing to sniper sites. I think something like that then becomes a requirement for a sniper site, because otherwise a sniper site just by itself, in most normal circumstances, does not get search engine traffic or enough of it to really make it worthwhile. Now, Gaz does some things that can make a one-page sniper site get up on Google, but he's more targeting the early bird products that are out there. So he's not dealing with that search engine competition that can often require you to build up a larger website to be able to get those better rankings. So it's not that one approach is right and one's wrong or anything like that. They can both definitely work. It's just a matter of how they're working. And from my personal experiences, I like getting the search engine traffic a lot better than having to go out there and market my website like crazy to be able to drive the traffic to it. I like to be able to more focus on the website, whereas with a sniper site, you have this one page that you've put up on a domain in your own name, and all the other stuff that you're creating, you're putting everywhere else on the internet. So I think of it more in terms of what I'm going to end up with essentially ownership of in the end. Do I want to build 20 pages worth of content and have one page of it on my website and the other 19 elsewhere to try to help drive the traffic to the one? Or do I want to put all 20 on my website and try to let it speak for itself and let the traffic come to it through natural search rankings? So it's really just a matter of what kind of approach you want to take and how you feel like each approach kind of works for you. You know, some people like doing all the extra marketing. They might prefer creating, for example, a YouTube video over writing unique content. So, you know, if something like that is the case for you, you know, by all means work with what you feel like you have in terms of what your advantages or you know, skills may be. Okay, so if you're like that, then, you know, doing something more sniper based may actually be more worthwhile for you, because you could then focus on the videos. But there are a lot of people who completely stay away from videos 100%, and they won't touch them, and some of them even fear the videos, or even the whole creation process. They feel like maybe it's too technical for them or something. Right. Something like my Explaindio examples that I've done. Those types of videos, driving a bunch of traffic into a sniper site, can definitely be helpful. If you're going to be 100% dependent upon your YouTube videos, even consider getting more in depth with them, especially if you play around with Explaindio a little bit or another similar video creation software. You can definitely get more complex with your videos and try to offer more information. Try to target specific needs, especially if you're going to be promoting one single product on a sniper page with a whole bunch of different videos. Then you kind of have to try to approach it from different angles. Something that you may notice that I do in my my own affiliate promotions that you guys see in my emails. I might promote this same product 3 or 4 different times or something like that, but I'll try to do it in a different way each time. Pick a different angle on it. Pick a different aspect or benefit to it to try to touch on, because everybody has different needs, and there's really not going to be a situation where it's a one-size-fits-all type of deal. So the same thing can really kind of apply with physical products as well. Pretty much any physical product has numerous different needs and different benefits and features and things like that, and so you can approach that from as many different possible angles as you can, but doing them all separately. For example, if you created a separate video for each of those possible different angles and benefits and so on, then you would be pulling in the traffic based on those types of keywords. Sure, Kathleen. For Rand there, I guess the whole time I've been talking, for the most part, he was wanting to know kind of where to begin, being a little overwhelmed with everything, and then kind of getting into how to do some fast cash as opposed to building the monthly recurring income. And then more recently here, I've been talking about sniper sites with him. He was just asking what my opinion was about sniper sites and also YouTube marketing to sniper sites. So I wanted to give him kind of a comparison between the main tactics that I teach people and what some other people do, and how, there's not necessarily one that's right or wrong. It's kind of the way you go about it, the different skills that you may have, or even your own personal preferences as far as what type of work you prefer to do. If you're going to sit down and work nonstop all day long from morning to night for a couple of weeks straight to try to hammer out a project or a number of them and get them finished, what would you prefer to be doing? Writing articles or creating videos, for example? And so for somebody who just absolutely hates writing articles, and maybe they can't afford to outsource to somebody else to get those articles written for them, I was saying that it could be a little more beneficial to take the sniper site route if you're comfortable making videos, because you can use those to market your sniper sites, because they are heavily dependent upon that extra marketing. Um, yes, that's right, Ran. Rand's asking, it's like to do the preparations for site content and to put it in a few different videos. That's essentially right. If you think about how you might approach building an entire website, in terms of the keyword research that you're doing, finding out all the different topics that people are searching for relating to your niche, relating to specific products. You can do that same type of preparation to essentially figure out what kind of videos you want to create, because you still have the same ultimate goals with those videos that you do with building content on your own website, which is to get some kind of free traffic from somewhere. You either want to be able to get search rankings or you want to be able to pull people off of YouTube. But chances are, if you have some kind of traffic under a Google keyword, there's a pretty good chance that there will also be some kind of YouTube traffic searching for the same type of keyword as well. Now, obviously, you're going to have plenty of different phrases that are more popular somewhere like YouTube than they would be on Google. But you can still kind of use it as a general indication to figure out what kind of different topics you might want to be targeting. So, just as an example, let's say I was going to promote a computer that I found on Amazon. I could figure out what people want to use a computer for. Some people might want to use it to play games. Some people might want to use it just to surf the internet or to do social media. Some people might want to use it to do schoolwork or research or actual work. They might want to use it for graphic design. They might want to use it for writing. You know, there's all these different uses essentially for almost any given product that's out there in the marketplace. So by researching all those different uses, and in a lot of ways those uses can also kind of be considered benefits. You know, a benefit of having a computer is that you could be browsing the internet all the time, or doing social media, or playing games, or any of the other things that I listed. So it's kind of the same type of thing with a benefit and a use a lot of times. It may not necessarily be called the same thing. You know, somebody that might want a computer for playing games, while you could target game-related computer keywords, you could also try to figure out what they're looking for in a computer that would make it capable of playing games, or more capable of playing the kind of games that they want to play. So you have all these different angles that you can kind of break any one product down into, and so those are the different things that you can research as far as content, which could either then go on your website, or it could also be the content for your videos, all your different keyword phrases and stuff. So you can narrow that down to where you're just targeting one keyword phrase per video or per article, depending on where you're trying to put out this information. And so you're bringing in traffic from all these different ideas and interests and benefits and uses all to the one product. Or obviously if you're building a more complicated site where everything's on your own website, you know, you're pulling it into multiple products in a lot of cases. But with a sniper site, it would, you know, be all of your different videos out there pulling it into a single product. So it is kind of the same type of thing with preparing for your site content as it is for preparing for your video content. It's just depending on, you know, how you want to approach it, essentially. Now, there was one other thing that I wanted to bring up as far as fast cash goes, because even building a complete Amazon website and trying to resell it, for example, can still end up taking potentially a couple of weeks at the very least. And a lot of times it can end up taking, a month or so. I think most of the websites that I've sold, as far as Amazon websites, most of them have been 6 weeks old at a minimum. But I also waited until I had some proof of earnings to show before I sold them. So I wanted to also talk about another option for earning quick money that you can also essentially be using my training to help you out with. And I think I may have briefly mentioned it before, which is doing freelance work. This is actually how I got my start on the internet many, many years ago, in terms of getting away from actual work and working at home when the work that I was doing wasn't steady enough to bring in as much as I would need every month, or if I would have some months that were good and other months that weren't good enough. I found a need to be able to supplement my income on demand. And so freelancing is what I ended up finding. I had to have been probably 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago or something like that, that I was involved with this. The site that I used to use, I'm pretty sure this is what it has become. I used to use a site called Scriptlance, mostly. I used a couple of different ones, really. But that's where I found myself getting most of my quick and easy projects from. And I'm pretty sure that they were essentially bought out by this freelancer website a number of years ago. But you can really take a lot of the skills that I teach and come over to a site like this, and there's all kinds of people out there that have the money to get this work done, but they just don't have the time to do it, or they don't have the knowledge to do it themselves. A lot of people want to build and run websites, but they don't want to make it themselves, and they don't want to, a lot of times, really even know how the stuff works. They just like taking it from more of, I guess, like a business acquisition point of view, like somebody going out and buying real estate. I'm going to buy this apartment complex, and it's going to add to my monthly income, and I'm going to have this, guy take care of it all for me, management and staff and everything, and I'll just collect the paycheck. So you have people that essentially do that same kind of thing online, and they need people that actually know how to do things. And while you definitely have people that are looking for your very technical types of workers, for graphics and programming and all kinds of different things that the average person and likely the average trainee of mine would not be able to do. However, they have all kinds of other stuff too that could definitely fit. Let's see, I think if I go down to the bottom here and click on this freelance work, yeah, okay, this is what I wanted. These are all the different categories that they have. Actually, it's saying I can even show more of them than just these. These are probably their primary categories, though. But you have things ranging from super technical, like 3D animation and PHP programming, to simple stuff like article writing and data entry and Excel spreadsheets. They even do stuff like translation, tons of content writing type of stuff. If you do, if you have certain software that marketers have created, things like Explaindio, you could likely use something like that and come over here and actually create videos for people where they're looking for a professional looking video, but they're not looking to hire a professional a lot of times because they want a good rate. If you're willing to be competitive with your pricing, you can really scoop up projects pretty quickly. And if you're looking for fast cash, go for the projects that you think you can complete in a matter of like a couple of hours at the most. I got started off doing that with my PHP programming many, many years ago. And even though I was certainly no expert at PHP in those days, I would still browse through the PHP projects and try to find ones that I thought I might be able to do. And a lot of times they would give such specific information in the project listing itself that I could go over to Google and often Google how to fix the problem. I did a lot of website fixes where you would have a PHP error coming up on a website. And even if I didn't know what that error meant, I could go to Google and I could search that error and learn what it meant and then go to the website and fix it for them. And I did stuff like that where I would work for a lot of times 30 minutes or so, and I'd get $50 per project. And a lot of times I could land many of those in a single day if I was really sitting here kind of keeping track of stuff. Sometimes you have people that are posting projects on websites like this, and they need the work done really, really quickly. So if you can make it clear to them that you can do the work and that you can get it done within their time frame and that you're willing to be, competitive with your pricing and everything, a lot of times you can bid on a project and get accepted for the project in the same day and be working. And I've even had a lot of cases where you end up getting paid the same day as well. So while doing something like this isn't the most ideal, you don't make a great hourly rate in most cases doing this type of freelance work, because they typically are looking for a lower rate than they might get from hiring a professional, for example. But it can be a really good source of supplemental income or to kind of help get things rolling, if you're in a rough patch to start out with. Can definitely help for stuff like that. And a lot of the things that I teach, I really think could, make you sound better to a potential person that might be looking to hire. If, for example, you apply for a content writing job and you can say, hey, I know all about SEO and keyword targeting and not overusing keywords, and so you can kind of give people a sense that you might do a little more than what a normal ordinary writer would do, for example. And that kind of thing can really apply to a lot of different categories. I guess while I'm on it, my couple of recommendations: go for your short projects, the quick and easy ones, as opposed to your really large, more expensive ones, because sometimes with the more expensive ones, the person posting the project doesn't post all the details of it, and you get into the project and, hey, it turns out you're doing 10 times the work you thought you were going to be doing. And guess what? You still get the same amount of money because you bid on the project and you're committed to do it for that particular price. So a lot of times sticking with the shorter ones, at least if you get yourself into a bad project, it is something you can get yourself out of pretty quickly with it being a shorter project. And the other thing is to look for really clear project details, kind of related to what I was just talking about. When you see somebody very specifically laying out what they want and what their expectations are with a project, then you can know with a little more confidence, hey, there's probably not going to be all this hidden stuff with this particular guy that, I'll get hit with after I get accepted for the project and I'm kind of stuck doing it. The other thing is, when you put forth a project bid, send the person a private message or post a private message on the project board, whatever the case may be. I'm not quite sure how this particular website works. But instead of just putting a bid out there, by sending them a message to go along with it and giving them a very brief bit of information about yourself and maybe letting them know that you're available to start right away, that you can complete it quickly, that you're not involved in another project at the moment. Other things like that that help to instill confidence in the person that's posting the project make you much, much more likely to get accepted. And it was things like that that I did, especially early on when I didn't have feedback from doing work on the site already. It makes it a lot easier for them to trust that you're actually going to do a good job for them if they get a nice, clear written message to them, as opposed to somebody just saying, pick me, and writing $100. Because a lot of people do stuff like that and don't take a few minutes to make themselves look a little more professional on these types of websites. So the people that do really stand out above and beyond everybody else. Did I answer everything that you were curious about, Rand? Did you have anything else? Or anybody else out there, you guys have any questions for me this evening? Please feel free to chime in at any time. Be more than happy to answer something for you, or even go into a bunch of detail like I did here for Rand tonight. Well, obviously, yeah. Well, obviously I was helping you out tonight, Rand. Oh, you're quite welcome. I really felt like there's got to be somebody else that's a member of Team Azon Pro that's also got to be, feeling the same things, wondering where do they begin, especially if they maybe are more of a recent joiner. I know, Rand, you've been around for some of my masterclass series before, whereas I do have some people that are essentially brand new and they're coming on and they're seeing hundreds of training lessons and they're like, whoa, what do I do? So I think it could definitely be helpful for other people that are trying to get some direction on what to do. And I know there's a lot of other people out there that deal with the urgent need for fast cash, even though they have a desire to build a long-term, stable, monthly earning business. Sometimes, the need to pay the bills comes first, and you have to get that taken care of and then start working on the rest of the stuff. So I, wanted to be able to obviously help you out, but also thought that this information could be useful for other people as well. And I think the freelancing stuff is a great way to kind of supplement something when you need the quick cash, but you also want to be working towards something else because, you need more of that stability, especially if you want to kind of move away from working a real job, for example, and just do internet stuff. It's hard to have a month where you make a couple $1,000s and then another month where you only make a couple $100. So things like this, at any point in time, you can pull this out of your back pocket And even if Freelancer for some reason wasn't around in the future, there's many other websites kind of like this, but this should be one of the larger ones that's free to join, and should also offer some of the less technical types of jobs that I think at least the majority of my members would be able to handle. Rihanna's asking about linking from YouTube to Amazon. Right, you should definitely not use a direct link. What you would want to do, I think I put this in, I'm pretty sure it was in the end of the Explaindio training, if I'm not mistaken. If you're looking for some more detailed information after this, I recommend linking from the YouTube video up to your website, and then your website will link out to Amazon in terms of having your affiliate link. In fact, I'm thinking about the way YouTube allows things. I don't think you could put a Amazon affiliate link directly in a YouTube video. You could put one down below a video, but then again, you know, I really do not think that is something that's allowed. And there's another reason why I recommend for people to keep the affiliate link on their own website, and that is to maintain the control over it. For example, if you, let's say you create a video and maybe you find a way to link the video up to Amazon, but it's essentially hard-coded into the video. If the product ever changed on Amazon, or maybe a newer model of it came out or something like that, you wouldn't be able to go back and change it. But, you know, what if you were getting a lot of traffic to it? It would essentially just go to waste, you know, fizzle out whenever the old product wasn't a good product to promote anymore. So at least by keeping it on your own website, you maintain the control. So if you ever needed to change it out, or maybe you just wanted to do a little bit of testing and see if one product sold better than the other, you know, it gives you a lot more freedom to do something like that, and especially makes it a lot easier than, for example, if you had 20 YouTube videos all pointing to a sniper site that was promoting one Amazon product. You know, instead of going out there and changing 20 links, you just change one link on your website. And, you know, obviously this helps you to look a little better as far as being on YouTube itself and linking to an actual website. And then it opens up the potential to use the YouTube feature where you can actually link from within your video to a website. I give the example of that in the Explaindio training in the members area, kind of going into a little more detail than would probably be reasonable to try to explain here. As far as your other question, what kind of disclaimers are a must in your website? I create this About Us page on pretty much all the Amazon sites that I do. You wouldn't necessarily have to have the About Us page, but the one part you really need to worry about is this last paragraph that I include on here. I'm on the downcomforterguide.com About page. This statement is what Amazon requires you to have. So even if you just have a one-page sniper site, this needs to be on your website somewhere. And I would also make it still visible. You know, you could shrink the text a little bit smaller maybe than some of your surrounding text if you did want to put just everything on one single page and put a little disclaimer down at the bottom. But definitely still make sure it's easily readable and that it couldn't be construed as you trying to essentially hide it from people. But that's the absolute must for Amazon. Anybody else have any questions for me this evening? Got a little bit of time left. Yes, Lee, there is Explaindio training on the members' website. It is under the bonus training. I have this template here that you can download, and it's the same template that I am using here in my training video, where I create a Amazon product review video. And it's something that I've kind of designed to be fairly easy to do in terms of not having to create everything from scratch, where you can just use the template and replace the images and replace the words on it, and then you're basically ready to publish. Throw some audio on it, I think, might be the only thing that is not on the template already. This is actually the one thing in the entire member site that has any kind of an affiliate link for people that do not have Explaindio. But this is something that I really saw as something that basically every marketer can use. I don't even buy a lot of software and products and stuff personally these days, but I actually bought a copy of this myself.